It's your man Jay Graves Report, and welcome to the College Football Weekly Preview, Week 6. Y'all know how we get it in, so let's get it in. Previewing the top 5 ball games of the weekend, so let's get right to it. Now, before I get started, I know you peeping out these polka dots I got on. Polka dots are for players. If you don't have a player's card, you can't get no polka dots. And I'm issuing the player's card. Remember that, bruh. Now, let's move on to the first ball game. Now, we're going to go up to South Bend. We got undefeated Navy coming in 4-0 to play the number 15 Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who's only lost one ball game. Now, Notre Dame is coming into this ball game after a bad loss down in Death Valley last weekend. Navy is averaging 38 points a game, putting up 406 yards a game. Notre Dame averaging 37 points a game, putting up 512 yards. They was dull last week down in South Carolina. Had 4 dull turnovers in the second half. Brian Kelly went down there and panicked, wet the bed, going for 2 points when he didn't need to. And when he was down 24-9, went for it too early, and then he wet the bed on the boy. And the leprechaun got arrested down in Walmart down there, so that done in trouble. He got to check in with the PO this weekend, so they got him on a bracelet. So game started at 3:30. That done got to leave by halftime. So the leprechaun won't even be at the game in the second half, dog. And here's the deal. These boys from Navy come into this ball game with this triple option. They third in the country at rushing the ball at 339 yards. Here's the problem. Touchdown Jesus, don't let boys run the ball at Notre Dame. Remember, Georgia Tech came up in there a few weeks ago with that doggone triple option. He was out there tying boys' shoes. If you try to throw the ball, he blowing balls out there. Notre Dame is going to bounce back on this weekend, beat these boys. When they were dull last weekend, might cost them an opportunity to play for a national championship because Brian Kelly was dull last weekend. Now, let's move on to the next ball game. Now, we got the big rivalry game. Miami goes down to Doak Campbell to play number 12, Florida State. Now, here's the deal. Miami comes into this ball game off a bad loss. Went up to dull Cincinnati and got beat. This is the U we talking about. Boys be talking, hollering and screaming about the U. I know they got crazy cats in the NFL, or was sending crazy cats to the NFL like nuts. They won 5 national championships in 20 years. Hold that thought. They come into this ball game averaging 37 points a game, 460 yards a game. Florida State is putting up 32 points a game, 405 yards per game. The U ain't the U no more. Let me say this. For all you cats representing the U. The U ain't been worth 2 dead flies smashed since 2003, since they left the Big East. Now, I say that because the Big East was dull. The only team in the Big East was Virginia Tech every year, and they were suspect most of the time. That's why Miami was Miami. And now that they've gone to the ACC, they ain't been able to win a doggone conference championship since they showed up in 2004. I'm just keeping it real, bruh. So don't tell me nothing else about the U until they start at least win a doggone conference championship in the doggone ACC. Now, here's the problem for Florida State. Dalvin Cook is day-to-day. He got a strained hamstring from last week. They dull. They don't have anybody behind him. You got Jonathan Vickers, who's only carried the ball 30 times for 140 yards, so he's been productive. But then you got Jaquez Patrick, has only had 3 carries. So if Dalvin Cook can't play, it's going to slow Florida State roll. But because they playing the U and they got better players, better athletes, they going to beat the brakes off the U. And I don't want to hear nothing else about the U until they can show up and start winning some conference championship. We're not even talking about national championship. They're talking about conference championship. Or they can just go on back. The worst thing ever happened to the U is they left the Big East. because and let me say this, they won 5 national championships. They played for 3 or 4 of them mugs at the crib. Now, can you imagine playing for the national championship at your home stadium? Come on, bro. You're supposed to win 5 national championships. Let's move on to the next ball game. Now, let's go out to the Pac-12. We got number 23, Cal, coming to this ball game undefeated, 5-0, playing number 5, Utah, who's 4-0. Both these boys undefeated. Cal averaging 43 points a game, putting up 527 yards a game. Utah averaging 38 points a game, putting up 393. These boys are rolling. It's going to be a track meet in here. Then you got Jared Goff, the young boy of Cal, putting in work. Sonny Dykes got these boys rolling. In 2 short years, they've gone from 1-11 to 5-0 and ranked number 23 in the country. And they're going to shock the world this weekend. I'm picking Cal to beat Utah in Salt Lake City and shock the world with these boys. Now, let's move on to the next ball game. Let's go to the Big Ten. We got number 13, Northwestern, shows up in the big house to play number 18, Michigan. Now, Jim Harbaugh got these boys rolling. They went out there, lost the first ball game to Utah. Everybody was talking about they were suspect. Come to find out, Utah was the real deal. Now, Northwestern is averaging 25 points a game, putting up 391 yards a game. Michigan is averaging 27 points a game, putting up 392 in terms of yards a game. Here's the deal with both these teams. Nobody in the country is allowing fewer points per game than Northwestern and Michigan. Northwestern is only giving up 7 points a ball game. Michigan is only giving up 7.6 points a ball game. So it's going to be a defensive battle in this ball game, bro. I'm just keeping it real. Northwestern is looking to go 6-0 for the first time in 53 years. So it's a whole lot on the line. Michigan is coming off 2 back-to-back shutouts. Defense is the real deal. But here's the problem. Michigan's defensive end, Mario, let me get this guy's name. Oh, Jimmy, what's his name? Mario, oh, that's that darn name. That darn is hurt this weekend, so he's out. He out for the season. That's going to hurt Michigan's defense. Now, I'm just saying, if I look at this ball game on paper, it's a dead heat. But because Harbaugh's coming out there in them old dog khaki pants, he gonna pull a hamstring in them pants one weekend, bruh. I'm telling you, if he got brothers on his staff, the brothers ain't wearing no doggone khakis. It's against the law for brothers to wear khakis. I don't know how he getting the brothers into the khaki pants, cause we pull hamstrings in them joints. Michigan wins this ball game, bro. Let's move on to the next ball game. Now, we got number 10, Oklahoma. It's going down to the Red River Rivalry at the Texas State Fair and the Cotton Bowl to play Texas right now, dude. Texas comes into this ball game reeling. These Duns 1-4. OU 4-0. Coming in strong. Here's the only problem. Oklahoma is probably one of the most penalized teams in America. These Duns they're the third most penalized team in America with averaging 94 yards a game in penalties. They 6th in the country with the number of penalties that they get every week. It's dub. But they rolling. They Baker Mayfield putting in work. These boys are coming off a huge win against Virginia Tech last weekend, beat them by 20 points, 44-24. Texas comes into this done after getting blasted by number 4 TCU, 50-7. They got Duns in the locker room tweeting at halftime, talking about they want to transfer. Charlie Strong, you need to pull your bet out, bro. Start going to work on some of these cats. Then this week, we find out that the seniors are beefing with the freshmen because the freshmen taking boys' jobs. They even on Twitter going back and forth, calling each other out. Dude, it is about to be a massacre in the Cotton Bowl this weekend. Boys are going off back and forth beefing in public on Twitter. What What is the foolishness going on down in Austin? Hey, I heard it's so bad down there, bruh. Bevo on that stuff now. They say that done lost 355 pounds. He lost 355 pounds. He was down at the swap meet trying to sell his doggone horns. Then he finally went over to the pawn shop, got his horns pawned for about $25 so he could go get it. Bevo is out there strung out on that stuff. These boys can't go out there and play, so now they gonna have they got a donkey out there with some fake horns on him this weekend, acting like his name is Bevo. Hey, Texas is gonna get the brakes beat off of him. I got OU winning by 50 this weekend. It's your man Jay Graves Report from TheJayGravesReport.com, or you can hit me up on Twitter at JayGravesReport so you can holler at your boy.